you, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Talk make the rest of the analysts go missing. In the UFL, how them amateurs all limping. We so sick with the blitzing. Break down defense quicker than a weak immune system. Rose G, my boys are real. Pancaked over the middle. Yeah, I hopped on the field. Who wanna get hurt now? Cause you can make it past the line of scrimmage, but you still gonna be the first down. With my team submerging, you got a better chance making a 4 for 40-yard conversion. Explosion on the team, UFL was the lead. J Mike close behind the scene.
What's going on, people? Welcome to season 2 of the YouTube show Real Tough Talk. I'm Stephen J.
And I'm Ghost.
And we're here to tell you about the new upcoming UFL season. Last season ended with MVR winning the championship, beating YMM. The R and the MV decided to go on their own way. They have their own team now, the replacements. MV is back to defend their title with just that two part of the teams.
Well, will they be just as strong as they were last year? We're here to find out.
Well, and then now we got also have new teams in the league. We got Generals, we got IOD, we got Rawness, we got House Gang, we got V Carver Mob, you got Evo, Valley Boys, KDW, all the replacements. We got all these teams as well as other teams back in the league, ready to start this new 2013-2014 season.
Well, nobody can say that we don't have competition in this league now. Anybody can say that last season that, you know, they had some soft teams, some teams that didn't really give competition to the bigger teams. But now there's no question that there's competition in this league right now.
Now everybody just here to play. Whoever's a champ is a champ, and we take it as that. We're going to get to the first game of the day. It was the Browns against LPAC. LPAC lost a lot of players. You know, most of them went to play with House Gang. Moses still figured that he can quarterback. He wanted to be on his own. They played the #1 seeded last year, Browns. Remember, they ended the season last year with the #2 seed, which wasn't bad. But they lost in the second round. So that really kind of, you know, it made it look like it wasn't really relevant, the place they came in. Browns ended the season #1 seed and lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we got two teams back to redeem themselves. But do you think, I think personally that LPAC took a step back.
I mean, I think from the beginning, they kind of had troubles gelling together because to me, and I pointed it out a lot, it was two different teams. It was some of the guys from LPAC, you know, that came out to play, and some of the guys from the ex-champions, the Rose G's, right, that came to the league and came and pretty much bogarted the position into LPAC and made it their team. And now that they left, who knows if LPAC is going to be the same team that they were last year.
And you know the Browns are coming back to redeem themselves this year. They went undefeated, got all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and lost the ending of the game to MVR. So you know they're coming back with a vengeance. So we're going to just jump right to it. It's not much really to say. As far as LPAC, their offense was pathetic. Moses really couldn't get in tune with his receivers, and they don't really have any weapons, it seems like. They seem really slow, really sluggish. They really look like they didn't want to be there. So it's like I'm wondering what this team is going to do going forward. Even Cujo is rumored saying that he won't be back with this team. He's going to his old team, Rawness. So we got to see what's going to happen. They did make a nice pickup, Anthony, who hasn't played in about 2 seasons, but he's back. He's healthy. He had actually had a touchdown for Moses and a nice throw in the back. If you look right here, Moses did find him in the back. Great catch between some receivers, some defenders. Anthony's like a #3 guy. He's more of a slot guy. You know, he's a good, nice role player on your team.
I mean, the thing about it is on that throw, I think that was the best throw that Moses had throughout the game. I think if you look at these plays here, he was kind of struggling, connecting with his players. Like, it seems like he on the field was confused. A lot of the guys on the field were like, they were dead. Like I was just saying, they were dead. That's all I can say.
And then you get to the Browns. The Browns was the Puka show. You know, you get this guy the ball and you let him make plays. If you look here, this is a great catch by him in the corner to start off the Puka streak. Then he catches another touchdown here, and then look at this great run back that he has. This guy is a dangerous weapon.
And they made it look too easy out there. If you that kick return, it looked like there was no effort from LPAC to stop it. They knew that they couldn't do anything about it. They can't match their speed. They have no energy on the field. It looked like they were just there saying, please let this game end so we can go home, please.
We even was told a few players from LPAC quit after that game. So what's going to happen with LPAC? Browns once again start off with a great defense. If you look this play right here, picked off, run back, pick six. Even though it didn't seem like LPAC made any effort to make the stop, but this is the stuff the Browns do. They get the ball and they trying to run it down your throat and look for the end zone. And
they're very effective on the run. This is probably the only team that I know that's so effective on the run that they put points on the board.
Well, they're well coached. You know, they coach one of the coach of the year, but the question is this just a regular season team? That's what it was told. They was moved from the West to the East. You know, people were thinking that they couldn't compete in the West. They were pushing the East. We don't know all the details of the situation. We just know that they got something to prove. Evidently, the game will end 26-7 with Browns really shutting this game out from early, shutting it down, and now LPAC got problems. Now they got to decide what they're going to do. Do you think it's panic mode?
I think it is, because this is not stuff that should happen in the first game. I think that they were lifeless. I think that it would look like the heart of the team is gone. Not at the guys that were there last year running with House Gang. Even though that wasn't even a part of, they weren't really a part of that team. It looked like they just took the life out of LPAC, and these guys don't know what they're doing anymore.
And now Browns, the only thing I say about the Browns is they have a lot of playmakers, but what we saw is they playmakers are kind of under 5'7". So when they lock up with bigger defenders, what's going to happen, and vice versa. These are playmakers on defense. We already saw Matrix make a catch on Puka, and the height difference was a big advantage for Matrix. So what's going to happen when this team plays bigger teams, stronger teams than they are? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about one of the games I really wanted to get on, KDW versus Ball So Hard.
Now, I'm going to just say this about Ball So Hard. Pretty much, Ball So Hard is some of the players that they had last year, and some of, players from the teams, one of the teams that I liked last year, which was Brick Squad. Unfortunately, they didn't come back this year, but some of them guys went to Ball So Hard, and they came together, and hopefully they made a better team for it.
Well, they were 3-5, so obviously something was wrong.
Well, they made the playoffs towards the end of the season, so
they
must
were
have been
3-5.
Listen, like I said, they weren't even forecast to make the playoffs at first, and they played 3 big games last year. But let's not talk about that because they're no longer here. Let's talk about this game.
Well, Ball So Hard, like he said, they did pick up some players. They picked up Crazy, which I think is an upgrade to Malcolm. No disrespect to Malcolm, he led the league in interceptions. He had 11 interceptions. Last year, Ball So Hard only scored 33 points for the season. By picking up Crazy didn't have great numbers, but he was 10-9. 10 touchdowns, 9 picks, made the All-Star team, and the team was 3-5. So that's a big step up for their offense.
I mean, anything's a big step up from last year. So
what confused me, we're going to get to the game right now. What confused me is they have Crazy, they picked him up, it was a big talk in the offseason, but then Malcolm starts. I don't understand the point of that.
But hey, you got to go easy on Malcolm. Obviously, he had a hard year last year. Things didn't work right. He's trying his best to redeem himself this year. And obviously, he's supposed to be the leader of this team. He's supposed to be their main offensive person on their team. He's trying to redeem himself and take them further than they went last year.
Okay, but this is my issue. Let's get to the game. Ball So Hard starts off the ball. They run the ball. Good play. They got to keep Ty in the game this year. Ty made the All-Star team last year. He's great out the backfield. He is a playmaker. Get him the ball. But as always, Ball So Hard don't really do the things as everybody knows. They want to be different. As you can see, the first 2 downs, they move the ball. And then, first down, what does Malcolm do? Throws a bomb and gets picked off. hello, you led the league in interceptions for a reason. Look at this play. Who are you looking for? Did you really think that man was open? I don't understand it. He was picked off by that, I believe that's Chad Frost, if I got his name right. Picked off, but once again, Malcolm did what he did last year. Turned the ball over.
I mean, if you actually look at the play, I can see what he saw, but he didn't read the defender properly, and he didn't make the throw that he needed to make. There's certain players that in this league that can actually make that throw. Unfortunately, that throw was a little too short and it went right to the defender.
Next we have KDW. They're the new team that got involved. That was Cornbread. He took the team over. There was to combine with Ball So Hard. Cornbread decided to take the team on his own because he figured he knew what the team would need in order to go to that next level. That's what he was talking about, going to that next level. So he's taking more of a coaching approach rather than actually playing. So we got to see what that's going to lead to this season. So now they start off with the ball after Malcolm turns it over. They have a quarterback, Casper. Now Casper was explained the rules. He was explained the quarterback hikes the ball to himself. No problem. But then, right after he was explained, he gives the ball right to the preacher. Didn't we just tell you, you hike the ball to yourself, and then he gives him the ball back?
I mean, obviously, these are some first game jitters or whatever. This guy, he still, even though the rules are explained to him, he still, has a habit of giving the ball back to the ball giver. Unfortunately, that led to
we just told him. Just told him.
Come on, then, give him a break.
That's the mistakes you make that'll lose you a game. So now Ball So Hard gets the ball back in the red zone. Once again, they can't score. Malcolm cannot find the end zone. He had no touchdown passes last year, and I guess he started it off again that way.
I mean, but let's not talk too fast because yes, he was incomplete in those first two throws, the first three throws, but then the last throw, he actually made a good throw to Crazy. If you look here, he made that throw. It was right in Crazy's hands. He got got a little contact from defense, but it doesn't matter. You're supposed to make that catch, and there's no arguing with that.
Okay, I give you that. That was a decent throw, but you got to go back and say what? You got to score in the red zone. This is a quarterbacking league. Field's 100 yards long. It's a blitz. It's a four rush. Quarterback got to be able to move the ball. If you don't have confidence in your quarterback, he shouldn't be there. Why did they pick up Crazy? Just explain to me that. Why did you go out and get another quarterback if you was going to start with the same quarterback you had last year? How do you make your team better?
But then you got to understand, Crazy wasn't only a quarterback. He was also a guy on defense. He was actually a defensive back on their team. He made a couple of great plays on their team last year. He kind of helped them make it to the playoffs on defense, not only as the quarterback. So even though he's not quarterbacking, he's still there to make plays on their defense.
Well, one thing I can say I give to Ball So Hard is they attempted to make changes. So now we're going to go to KDW. They have the ball, and after pretty much nothing, what did they do with it? They went out and got all that defense. They went and got Shaq. They got all these guys on defense. They got Frost. They wanted to make the team strong, but they don't have a quarterback.
I mean, obviously that's the case. I mean, if you look at Casper, he's not making the plays that he's supposed to make. He's not seeing where his guys are going. It seems like they're so unstructured that they're not even able to, they don't know what's going on. They're not moving the ball. It's just ugly.
But the problem is they should know it's a quarterback league. They went and got defense, which is great. You need defense to stop Browns, Carver. You need defense to stop YMN. You got to be able to stop these teams, which is cool, but you got to put up points. So basically, back and forth, nothing happens.
Well, what they decide to do is, since Casper's not working out, they decide to bring in Angel. I guess they brought in Angel to help, add a spark to their team, a fresh quarterback. But this is the first game. If you're already taking out your first quarterback already, then that shows that you already have problems. And this is only the first game.
That's true, but listen, it didn't work with the younger guy. They put in Angel. Angel was supposed to start anyway this year, which was we were told. And it didn't work out. Come on, he just got in the game. Give him a chance to make some plays.
Wait. You're talking about giving him a chance. Come on, you're the first person to criticize a team. And now you're all of a sudden give them a break? Really? When did you ever give a team a break?
Listen, I'm cool with everybody, but you got to call a duck a duck. If it walks, talks, quacks, it's a duck. So if these teams don't have a good team, we're going to sit down and say they don't have a good team. So anyway, we're going to go to everything, basically what's going on. It got me so hyped because I just hate to see bad quarterback play. We brought in new teams with new quarterbacks, and these other teams have not realized you need a quarterback to win these games. So the biggest play of the game was, I'm stuck. I just don't understand how these teams are making the same mistakes of last year. But anyway, now KDW has the ball. Back and forth, no scores. And then we have a big play. Casper makes a throw. Julian, captain of Bolsonaro, jumps the route. Now, Julian made the All-Star team last year. He's a good player. He could have played with MV, but he decided to bring back Bolsonaro. He jumps this route. Great interception to run it back for a touchdown.
But then it's not necessarily great defense. It's just particular defense. I mean, any guy who's in that position would do that. That was a bad throw. He was covered. I mean, don't say anything.
He's trying to make a play.
It doesn't
give him a quarterback opportunity. It was a great defensive play. Come on, give him some credit.
No. He deserves his credit, but come on, that's a routine play. I mean, haven't you been on the field and looked at a play like that and reacted to it? That's a horrible throw. Any person in that position should make that play.
Evidently, they were running back to score. Malcolm will score on an extra point to put them up 7-zip, and basically the game will end 7-zip.
I mean, listen, on that play he scores or whatever, Julian scores, but then Malcolm actually makes a good throw for the extra point to tie. I mean, those are throws you're supposed to make.
Malcolm is a dink and dunk quarterback. You got to be what you are. He's not a downfield thrower. Dink and dunk. Get the ball to Tate. Let your receivers make the plays. You got Tate. You got Crazy. You got Spaz. You got Preach. You got guys on this offense that can make plays. All Malcolm got to do is get them the ball, and that's it. Don't try to make big plays. That's not your game.
I mean, the one thing that I noticed with KDW that killed me in this game is that they weren't even sure which person's going to quarterback. They put in Angel, then they put in Casper. They put in Casper, Angel, then Casper. It's like they're playing musical chairs with quarterbacks. I mean, what are you doing? It's the first game, and you're not looking good already?
Well, they didn't really show me anything today. They didn't show me nothing at this games. Bolsonaro going to have problems. They put in Crazy towards the end of the game. Crazy did not give the ball up. He basically ran the clock out, and that's how they won the game. But this team has to show us more. They got to decide who was their quarterback. Is Malcolm your starter, and you're going to go with the short, get the ball to my receivers, or is Crazy your quarterback? All or none, I'm going downfield, I'm making throws. Now, KDW got the opposite problem. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have, at least Bolsonaro got to decide what style they have. But KDW don't have a quarterback. They got a good defense. They got a physical defense. I think that guy, Shaq, is a guy you got to watch because he is a great blitzer. He plays the linebacker good. He's motivated. He's physical. And he's going to bring the other teams, he's going to make the other teams have to know where he's out on the field because of that blitz. But KDW have to score points. Come on, Brett. You can't bring this team together, want to compete, and not have a quarterback. I know I was told JR's your quarterback. Where is he? Where is he? You're already down 1-0 so far in the league. You're not in an easy division. You're not in an easy division. You got replacements, you got MVR, and now you got Bolsonaro. So I'm not going to say it's a real difficult division, but you got to be the top three. You got the underrated, replacements, MV, and Bolsonaro. You got to be in third place. So they got to decide what they're going to do. I'm not going to hit the panic alarm yet. First game, but they got to find out what they're going to do.
Well, as everybody knows in the league, I look at these teams and I make my decisions at week 2. We always make our definitive decisions going through the season in week 2. So we're not going to jump to any conclusions. We're not going to say a team is bad, a team is good, but we need to see how they do next week. Maybe they'll iron out the kinks for the first game, and maybe they'll look better. Who knows?
Guess we'll see next week. Next game was from 2 new teams, IOD versus Rawness. Rawness got Eddie quarterbacking, who people know he used to, I believe he threw for Creston. He definitely threw for Killer Bees. So everybody know that's what I call a throwback. And the new team, IOD. IOD is on the rise in a lot of other leagues. They got they running a 2 quarterback system. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if that'll work here.
Well, that's my question. Is like, can a 2-quarterback system work? I mean, we've seen teams last year try that 2-quarterback system with Crazy
Spaz.
and then Spaz and then, you know, I can go on and on and on, but never did it work. And now we have a team that actually had a 2-quarterback system, and we'll actually see if they work. It looked like it did.
Well, you know what they say: if you have two quarterbacks, you really have none. So we all know that's the saying in NFL. And then this is my problem. 3 times, Rawlins had the ball in the red zone in the beginning of the game and couldn't score. You can't get in the red zone in this season. Big field. You can't get in the red zone and not score points. It's hard to get there. And my problem with this game is Eddie didn't look like his usual self. Every time he was blitzed, if you look, this is how he looked regular. Now this is how he looked when he's blitzed. You can see the difference in the delivery, the difference in the pressure. You know, usually we used to him scrambling the ball a little bit, but he threw like this one right here, bad interception on the blitz. He didn't see the defender coming in. He just was trying to get rid of the ball, avoid a sack. Sometimes it's something that's called a good sack. You take a sack in order to keep the possession. If you look here, this is a blitz again. Another interception by Eddie. It just seems like the blitz kind of threw him off all game. I think that was kind of his problem today. His receivers wasn't much help. They really wasn't getting open. But he really, really, really did better in the blitz today.
I mean, that's the name of the game in our league. I mean, if you can't handle the blitz, then you don't belong as at the helm as quarterback. That's all I can say about that.
I mean, people got to get used to it. It's a 4 count. They didn't really know the rules. So I guess by the way things move, they'll do a little better. But you can't have 2 picks, a lot of incomplete passes. You can't be pressured like that and not be able to complete the pass. You can't, because all the teams watch this, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring the pressure to you, and you got to be able to complete the play.
But it's not only the quarterback as well. It's not only the quarterback. It's certain receivers that wasn't looking at the ball. They weren't running their routes right. If you look at one of these plays here, the guy had the play, and he looked away, and then when the ball was thrown, the ball was picked off.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't all the quarterback's fault. It wasn't all Eddie's fault. I mean, you got to be in sync when it comes to being on the field. When the quarterback's throwing the ball, your receiver has to be in sync with the quarterback, or you're going to see plays like that.
It's true. Then we're going to talk about ILD. ILD, really, they seem like they're really an organized team. As I said before, they play in other leagues. They're on the rise. They had a really good game. You know, their quarterback, I don't understand why they benched the first quarterback. He seemed like he was able to be, he's more mobile than the second quarterback. They benched Slasher, who's a little bit more mobile than Fat Joe. I guess that's his name. So I don't really understand the reason for the change. I mean, because if you see here, look at this great throw. Slasher hit my man going down the sideline. He hit him with the chair move. You look at this move right now. Soda. You see the chair route? Guy never sees the guy stumbles a little bit, but expects the safety help over the top. There's no help there. And my man, Jesus, a.k.a. De Jesus, with the touchdown going down the sideline. It don't get better than that. That's the old school chair route.
I mean, but the thing about it is we go back to the 2-quarterback system. They put in Joe, a.k.a. Fat Joe. He throws a nice TD to Ace towards the end of the game. I mean, it worked, I would say, but it was only 2 scores. They didn't score any extra points. They threw 1 interception. You know, it was actually a bobbled interception.
Yeah, it was sick that Eddie picked off, actually.
You know, it's a bobbled interception, so it doesn't really go too much credit to the quarter. You know, you can't beat them up on that. But then again, the defense for the other team wasn't really too much that they were able to successfully throw 2 different touchdowns with 2 different quarterbacks. But that's not saying much.
Well, 12 points. Game ended with ILD beating Rawness 12-zip. You can't really fault the defense. They gave up 2 touchdowns, 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. Can't blame defense if the offense can't score points. But I'm hearing now Rawness is picking up Cujo, who left LPAC. He's going to bring Ike, is what we're rumored to hear. So I think Rawness is going to build up. It's just starting out. They're getting used to it. Eddie is definitely a great 2-way player. As you see, he had an interception. So I think we can't really judge his team by this game. ILD, on the other hand, they got to figure out who's their quarterback. It seems like a lot of teams in the league are going 1-2. You know, we already saw Boston Hard do it today, and it's like you can't really go with your quarterback and stay with that guy. Let him do it because you're gonna need him for the season, especially with these new rules. 4 rush, blitzer. You got to be ready for that.
I mean, the key to that, especially with Eddie, is what the team needs to think about doing right now is figuring out how they can pick up the blitz and run routes that's designed to avoid getting sacked. Like 1-on-1 is, if you see the blitz coming, you throw it right to the side the blitz is coming from. You have a guy designed to be there, so because obviously if he's coming from that side is going to be exposed. So you throw it right there. That's an easy dump off right there.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens next week. Like I said, it was the first week. Eddie's mobile. I don't think he knew that he's able to run when he's blitzed. So once he get the rules down, I think this guy's dangerous. He has a lot of experience. He played in a lot of leagues. So I'm not going to judge him from this game. He just didn't look like the Eddie that I know won championships. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to the next game. Next up, we got Reckless and YMM. It seems as if Reckless has not been able to get over the hump against YMM. YMM is younger, they're faster, they're more aggressive it seems, and it seems like Reckless can't really turn the gear when it comes to playing this team.
And I also think that since Bishop is not playing with them, that's a big blow to them as well. Because he seems like one of the only guys that can actually keep up with them, and they lost that.
The problem, it seems like, with Reckless against YMM, they allow YMM always to make the big plays. If you watch here, you'll see this interception taken back to the house for a touchdown. You can't make those type of mistakes against YMM. And if you see here, here's a punt return taken back to the house for a touchdown. You can't allow YMM to make big plays. They got a different quarterback. They have Jeremy in this year rather than Ralph, who made the All-Star team. But it seems like it doesn't matter to the teams who behind the helm. They're going to find a way to make plays.
And it was mainly the defense that made the plays today. I mean, Jeremy had 1 touchdown pass this game, so obviously he shows the ability to score, but they didn't really need him in this game because the defense held down throughout the game. And with that punt return, the thing I'm going to break down is that the key to that punt return is this block by Rico. It was a great block going down the sideline, and that's what made one routine punt return into a touchdown.
Well, Rico's a big player, and he's going to do whatever it takes necessary in order to win this game. That's just how he is. If you see, he gets the interception here on Bug. See, Jeremy and Rico are the keys to this team. If Caesar can keep those two together, to me, YMM is the next OKC. You know what I mean? In basketball, OK City. Because you got Durant is Rico, and the question mark and the guy who can take the team to the next level will be Westbrook, which should be a Jeremy. He has all the talent to take this team to the next level.
I mean, but from what I saw, it seems like Jeremy is a different person from last year. Last year, he was quick to anger. He was quick to, scuffle with other guys. He was very rowdy. This year, he seems like he's together. He's humble. He's a leader. He's more quiet, which is not something that I'm used to from Jeremy from last year. So he seems like he can lead this team to more than last year.
And then you got Reckless. Reckless, they lost their big player in Bishop, who ends up going to play for Carver Mob. And it's now like they're looking for guys to step up. To me, you lost a guy to Carver Mob, but you gained a guy from Carver Mob and Mimi. If you watch Mimi with this slant for the touchdown where Bug finds him, Mimi is the key guy. He has experience. He has championships. He has heart. You need to lean on this guy to be a leader because this guy definitely knows where it's at. Horse is another guy who has experience. These two guys got to step this team up to the next level. Wangi had a great tip catch for an interception. So this team made plays. They didn't make enough plays. You see here, Bug getting sacked by Jeremy. Then Bug, you got to make plays against this team. If you can slow down the pace of the game, you can turn it around here. You got to find your playmakers. You go Sticky right here with a catch. Bug got to be able to find his players and not make mistakes. He threw 3 interceptions this game. You can't make those type of mistakes against YMM. So I feel in order to go to the next level, Reckless has to turn it around and find more playmakers. They have to be able to switch it around and know what they got to do against this team. Right now, in this league, Reckless is 0-3 against YMM. YMM beat him in the regular season. YMM beat him in the playoffs. And now YMM started them again, beating them in the regular season again. And 19-13 YMM winning. So I think Reckless needs to go back to the drawing board and find some playmakers. To me, Mimi's your guy. Next, we got a big game versus the Replacements versus them Getters. The Replacements were the team that was a part of MVR. D-Boy got into friction with MVR's coaching staff and decided that he wanted to go on his own. Not only that, but come playoff run, he was benched. Championship, he barely played, and this guy made the All-Star team. So I don't understand what's the reasoning behind it. I think it was a bad call by MVR even though they won the championship. D-Boy was your basic great lockdown corner, and for some reason, this team decided not to play him come playoffs and championship time. So it completely baffles me. Why would they go that route?
I mean, he was one of their, I would say, loudest players. He was part of their energy, and I would say he was one person that makes it known whenever he's on the field. He's one person that always makes his presence felt. He made big plays throughout the season, and towards the end of the season, it was very confusing that you didn't see him there. And
then you got them Getters who plays in a lot of different leagues. They're here to play. They're great. They have a great core of guys. They got Rue, who's a very, very good player. They Hate Me. They got a lot of guys who on this team, they keep the core together. Megatron. They just got a good core guys that really get together and really step their level up no matter who they play.
And one thing is, they pay attention to every play that they make. They pay attention to whatever's put on the board. One thing I've been hearing throughout that game was 1 for the books, 2 for the books, which means they're keeping track of the stats. So they're out there to make plays.
Against this team, Hood didn't have a great game. He threw 3 interceptions. Hood is a quarterback for Replacements. Hood was supposed to also play with MVR. That was a key player in that whole switchover because now MVR loses a quarterback. Remember, they already lost Yomi for the season. So now Hood throws a pick to number 9. They Hate Me. You can't make these type of mistakes. There's no way you're able to steer the ship the right way if you make these type of mistakes. That would have been one of Hood's 3 interceptions. Then you look here, he throws another interception to They Hate Me. You can't make these mistakes. This is an offensive quarterback-driven league. And then on the other side, if you watch Wong, he throws a nice touchdown pass to Rue. That was a great pass. These guys, you could tell this team knows where their players are going to be. It looks like Replacements are still getting the edge, still trying to maintain and turn it around and get this team all together. Hood throws another interception, his 3rd, that gets done by Track Stars. What do you think happened here?
I mean, it just looked like Track Star just came and took that ball. I mean, Hood, I don't know what he saw on the field. Obviously, he didn't see the defender, and he was able to take it back to the other side.
D-Boy does make a great interception on this play right here. Those are the plays that D-Boy made last year. He needs to make those plays this year on both sides of the ball because this team needs him to be a big player.
Not only that, I mean, he made a big catch on the other side of the field.
If you look here, right.
Yes,
right.
I mean, these are things that they need him for. So now he's not just the energy for one team. He is the key to this team now. So he needs to make plays. He needs to make his presence felt even more on this team because now they need him.
Unfortunately, Replacements get called for a pass interference on a Hail Mary play, which them was able to score on. And I think that was the play that turned the game around. Hail Mary to go into the half, pass interference.
I mean, how many times we see that happen?
So,
I mean, these are plays that you can't get pass interference called on you.
So it wasn't really much that really went on this game. You had it back and forth, back and forth. So I think those big plays came down to who made the play last. Evidently, them Getters was able to win this game. I believe it's 13-7. We got to check the score, but definitely it was a one-score game that replacements lost by. But to me, it's a good loss because replacements get to see what they got. I think that they're prepared for the next game. They got KDW this week. KDW was unable to score last week, so I think that they'll be prepared for this game. It's an early game, but I think they'll be prepared based on the first week, the things that happened. And now them Getters, they was not one of the teams mentioned in off season. They were not a team that they expected. Everybody talked about Browns, Carver, IOD, and nobody really talked about them Getters, and I think they took that personal.
I mean, if you notice, there's a lot of players that came from Untouchables last year. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them didn't like the taste of last season. They didn't like the way it ended. So, they came back, they got their own team, and they're really here to make a difference this year, and they're really here to make something happen.
For them Getters, watch that guy rule. 4 catches, 2 touchdowns. Watch that guy. To me, I think he's going to be an all-star. It's a little early to talk, but just his way he moves, the way he finds that end zone, I think he's going to have a big year.
And also watch Megatron as well. He's another playmaker, and he does it on both sides of the field.
D-Boy got to step it up because we got a lot of talent in this league, and everybody's coming for that title. Next, we got the big game, Carver versus Evo. A lot of people say that Carver is on the way down, that the underrated team has taken over. I think Carver takes that personal. Because why else would Pam's coming to this league? He has Chuck throwing, but he's only allowed, the speculations in bringing the team members, he was only allowed 5 of Carver's main star guys. Pams was willing to follow those rules, and he was still willing to go with the name Carver. Even though if people beat them, it won't be really the Carver team, but they'll still feel it be Carver because they got the same name. That doesn't matter to Pams. He says whatever time Chuck throws for his team, that is Carver. So they're going as Carver. They play a very decent Evo team who definitely has experience with playing against Carver. My thing that impresses me more about Chuck is he doesn't turn over for the pressure. He doesn't fear the pressure. He knows how to roll away from it. If you look at this play right here, the blitz comes, Chuck rolls over to his left and finds Joe. He'll find Joe all day. Joe had about 10 catches today. 10 catches Joe had. Joe was all over the field. So Chuck obviously is comfortable with him, and he's able to find him on a slant here on the blitz. Chuck was blitzed practically all day. They blitzed him anytime they could, and then they phase this guy. That's why he's known as Chuck Brady, because this guy makes plays. And people don't like this team because they win. If you look in basketball, people don't like the teams that win. They don't like San Antonio wins. They don't like New England wins. People don't like teams that win, and I think that's the biggest thing about Carver. I was not a big Carver fan. Didn't like Carver. I got the chance to play with Chuck. This team is very humble. They're a team that you hate on the field, but once you get to know them, you love to hang out with them, and introduce them to your sister. The big play also was Chuck found Bishop. Bishop left reckless to play for Carver. Another thing that confuses me is Bishop is giving him the ball. He led the league in interceptions last year, but Pams, coach of Carver, had him as a ball giver.
I mean, that's one thing that you say about Pams. Like, you do not need. I guess he doesn't really need another person running out there on the.
That was MVP.
Yes, but if you look, he had numbers, but he was not a cover defensive back. He wasn't. He was a person that cheated on the ball a lot, and I guess Pams does not like that type of corner out there, or he doesn't need that type of corner out there. He doesn't need a person that cheats, who's a ball hog. You need a person that covers with the defender, and anytime you had Bishop stick with a defender, he got beat every now and then. So I guess being a ball giver was easier for Pams, and why question him?
True.
Why question him?
He got 33 championships.
Exactly. Why question him? He knows what he's doing, and it's gonna work. If Pams is making that decision, most likely it's a reason why.
Well, if you look right here, Chuck does find Bishop on a slant for a touchdown. Bishop dropped a few passes today. I think he tried a little too hard to show what he could do. Just play your game. Everybody knows what you can do. A lot of people say you're over the hill. A lot of people say you can't do it no more. But as you see, he showed he can still do it in this game. Then also, Chuck is able to find Joe in the end zone. Why not? He already found him 10 times during the game. So he's able to find Joe for a touchdown in the back of the end zone. And he was able to also find Boo Boo on his great throw in the back. Boo Boo is a guy, he's going to be funny all year. This guy's a character. He's there to have a good time. To me, he's one player that I've seen leaves his problems at home. Whatever he's going through at home, you'll never know on the field. This guy has a good time, but he's effective. So you got to give him that. Then also, the playmaker that I think is the key for this team is Danny. Danny, if you look right here, great sack right here. He shows he's able to blitz off the corner and make plays. And then Danny had another great interception on Slick. Danny is the key to this defense. If the guys can follow his lead, this team, Carver, is going to take over. They say that they're the NWO of the UFL. They're going to mess the league up. They're here to do things their way. You didn't see it the first game. They played their game. Pam's on control. And I think this team is a team to be reckoned with.
I mean, if you look at all that happened, I mean, Evil had a hard game. They really had a hard game.
2 touchdowns they gave up on 4th down.
Yeah.
I think that's what put them away. And
that's demoralizing.
Loco has to step it up on his team. He has to be the main guy on this team. He has to show these troops that we're here to take this league. We can be another Carver. We can go to leagues and take championships. They didn't show it today. They lost 29-7. They was not able to slow down Chuck offense.
I mean, the most that they did was that pass from Slick to Nick. I mean, that's one thing you give credit for, but I don't see much happening other than that. Their offense struggled. Their defense was running with it like a chicken without a head. I mean, this was a very hard game.
Chuck scored on his first 3 possessions. He scored. You cannot do that against Carver. You got to slow them down. The second half, they were able to slow them down a little bit, but by that time, they had already put the game away.
Well, my last thing I got to say is if you look at how they drove on every possession, Chuck did not break a sweat.
No.
He did not wave. He did not question anything he was doing. He did not throw any balls deep, anything like that. He didn't go downfield.
Yeah.
All he did was he took what the defense gave him on every single play. 10 yards here, 15 yards here, 13 yards here. And that's how he drove all the way down the field. And this is a lesson that can be learned by many quarterbacks in this league.
See it and
he didn't go down at all. At all. All he did was he took the yardage, he cut up the field, and eventually on 4th down, he was still able to score because he knew where he was on the field at every given time. So that's a lesson learned for a lot of quarterbacks in this league.
A lot of teams that say, oh, everybody's jocking Carver, everybody's riding their coattails. Listen, you ride the team that wins. This team wins. They go everywhere and they win. It's up to the UFL teams to stop them. That's their job. And it's crazy because MV are the champs. But everybody's talking about Carver. So I know MV got to take that as disrespect. And they got to be the team to slow this team down because Carver's coming to take a championship. That's the only reason Pam's getting involved in the league. He wants to be the team known in that league. So evidently the game will be over. Carver already started off their mission. 1-0, 29-7. Next game we have House Gang versus Generals. And this was an anticipated game because House Gang has formerly been players from the Rose G's. Generals came in at the last minute into the league, and we was kind of anxious to see how both teams look. I think that House Gang jumped out and they was aggressive, they had energy, but they couldn't score points. You know, the biggest thing to talk about was Pig. You know, he was a player that broke his leg last year, and now we're already in December, and he's already playing again. That's amazing in itself. He has a rod in his leg. I think he's a little crazy to be playing.
I mean, but he was determined to come back. He spoke to us throughout the offseason saying that he was, he was working on his leg. He showed us video of him in rehab. So he was really determined to come out and play again. He wasn't going to let that end his season and maybe his career. And eventually he came back in December and he's already on his feet running around.
Well, the rehabbing was tough. You know, he had a lot of breaking points that he could have went, but he wanted to get back. He didn't want to end his career like that. And he actually had 4 tackles and a sack on defense. So we thought, well, at least I thought he was going to come back and play offense. But he showed he can still come back and play pig-style football on defense.
And on defense, is more demanding on your legs because you're running around more. You're trying to stick with defenders more. You're following the ball. So for him to stick to defense is a big tribute to his rehab for this on his off season.
And even though we talking about Pig, let's not forget about Smoke. This is one of Smoke's 4 sacks. He shows that being a ball giver is very important in this league. You got to be able to know the offense, what's going on. You got to be able to know what down you're able to blitz on. You got to be able to know what defensive coverage you're in.
Well, especially when you're switching between linebacker and ball giver. And I feel that that's one of our effective positions in this league because our defensive player of the year last year was a linebacker / ball giver.
Yeah.
So that shows how much that this position does contribute to the game.
Well, in all the hype, let's look at Mike Santos. Mike Santos threw and won a championship for Rose G's, but he was a third-string quarterback on that team. Then Ball So Hard picked him up after a few games last season. He didn't look great. You know, I think he threw 5. He was 3-5, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think his numbers was too great. They had a lot of practices. They said that he looked good. I think he looked decent in practice, and now he moved the ball. But it seems like he was insufficient coming into the red zone. They wasn't able to score points. But he did find his very favorite receiver, JP. JP's got a lot of passes today.
I mean, one thing about him is no matter what team he's playing on, he played with Rose G's, he played with LPAC last season, and then he's playing with House Gang. One thing about JP is he knows how to get open. He's not an efficient route runner, but he knows how to get open. He knows where he's at on the field, and he's able to make plays. Now, to talk about the Generals, they're another team that in this game kind of struggled on offense. They couldn't make it happen. They were making a lot of receptions. They were moving the ball, but they just could not seal a deal by scoring in the end zone. They just couldn't do it. Their defense held up, though. They have their main player that had a big game this game was Chris, who had 4 receptions, and he had an interception on defense, so he was doing it on both sides, but it doesn't matter. They did not score.
The question is, on that interception, was it a bad throw by Mike or a good play by Chris?
Well, actually, it's a bad throw. If you see it right here, it's clearly a bad throw. He overthrew his receiver by a mile, and it went right to Chris, so it wasn't even a greatly defended play. He was just at the right place at the right time.
These are the plays that Mike Santos cannot afford to make. He cannot turn the ball over on this. This team does not have a high-powered offense. They're stronger defensively than offensively. So his job is just to move the ball around. Don't go for the big play. If you're going to go for the big play, make sure you have the numbers, which is JP is the guy you want to go to the big play for. You can't make these mistakes. Mike Santos is not mobile. He's a pocket passer. So he has to keep the game simple. Don't go all complicated offenses. It's not your game. You are a dink and duck quarterback. Just do that. That can move the ball, get the ball into your playmakers' hands. I think eventually you're going to have a quarterback controversies going on because they have Rudy on the sideline. Rudy threw for Riot Squad last year. Rudy made the All-Star team. So I don't know how this is going to work when you have Rudy as the backup. Mike Santos is the starter, but this is Mike Santos' team. So start the controversy now. Because Rudy may not be active for it, but once this team starts playing bigger teams, the words are going to go on the sideline, we got another quarterback.
I mean, you took the words pretty much out my mouth. I mean, you have an all-star quarterback sitting on the back burner. I mean, I don't know. Like, you always said that you don't like having 2 quarterbacks on a team.
Right. Because
it never works out. But on this, you know, maybe Mike Santos will get his stride going. This is their first game. You know, there's a lot of guys that haven't played together before, especially in this league. They're getting the rules together, whatever. They're getting the feel for each other. Let's just say that. So we got to judge. My words are always, let's judge on the next week. By week 2, we should know what these teams are about.
Well, Mike can't throw the ball. That's one thing I'm going to give him. He can't throw the ball. He has zip on some of his passes. My problem is being consistent. And we're going to have to see down the line. Now, back to the game. The game went back and forth, zip, zip, great defense, both sides. But then on this play right here, a Hail Mary pass, Generals are called for a pass interference. It's hard to see, but it was a push-off. I was actually my game had ended, I had seen that play. It was a great call. It was a push-off. So now, House Gang gets a shot at winning the game, and they find Swagger in the corner for a walk-off touchdown.
I mean, that was a badly defended play. I mean, Swag was wide open. Nobody even looked at him. And I feel that was just the demoralizing from the last play, the pass interference, that pretty much shouldn't have happened, and that got them in a position to win the game. I mean, that's not the way you want to win to lose a game off of a pass interference. We had another pass interference play made by the replacements.
Right. That pass interference is big.
Yes, and it changes games. That's not a play. That's not a call you want on a Hail Mary. That should be a knock down the ball, end the play, let's go to the next play. You can't afford to have these type of penalties.
When the game ends 6-zip, House Gang gets to win. 2 questions. 1, Generals, where are your playmakers? What's going to happen?
I mean,
who's going to make plays for you offensively? And 2, House Gang get the ball to JP. Swagger got to get more involved with the offense. Swagger definitely has experience. A lot of people say he's going down in his career, but he shut those guys up by having a walk-off touchdown in the corner.
Listen, I was very critical of him last year. He didn't like my criticism. I told him that he should stick to defense. I don't feel it's an insult. He took it as an insult. But I say, the reason why I say he should stick to defense is because he played well last year on defense. He was up there
for defensive
player of the year. He had more interception drops than he had interceptions. Yeah. And if he would have caught all those interceptions, he was definitely going to be in defensive player of the year. And possibly MVP. I feel if it's working so well on defense, why change it? Why try to do more than what's working?
He's able to dominate on both sides of the ball. The key to this team, Mike, has to not make turnovers. He has to get the ball to his playmakers, let them make plays for him. So the game was over. Gang, I gotta get used to the name. House Gang has a big game against IOD this week. That IOD can put up points. So I think we're gonna see the real strength of House Gang's defense this week. Next up, we got Valley Boys versus Underrated. Are they Valley Boys or are they Wesley Boys? Because Wesley did everything in this game. It's amazing that Wesley had 2 touchdowns. If you look at this play right here, he starts it off with a touchdown. Wesley played for the replacements. No, I'm sorry. Wesley plays for Untouchables last year. Wesley is, I think he's an upcomer. The guy has great hands. He can jump out the gym. I think he's on the rise. And he did everything for his team to win this game. I think it was embarrassing that Underrated let one man dominate them. One man dominate the whole game. 3 tackles, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns. It's just amazing how you know the ball is going to somebody. You see the ball is going to somebody, and you can't stop it.
I mean, we mentioned it before. Like, Underrated has decent players, but they don't really have anybody that stands out on defense. The main person that I noticed that they had was Robert, and I didn't see him on the field this season. I didn't see him on the field that day.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel that maybe that's the thing that's missing.
But they didn't have Sniper. They didn't have their starting quarterback.
So those are 2 pieces that 2 of the main guys on their team that they're missing. What's going on, fellas? I mean, y'all need to fix that because these are guys that y'all need. Either y'all need these guys or y'all need some guys to replace them.
I know that last year they ended the season. They won the wild card game. They lost in the divisional playoffs. They were supposed to be showing what they can do. Robert was actually talked to by the Browns. I believe Jingle was considering picking up Robert. Robert actually got hurt in that game against the Browns. Underrated, some people say that's a C team. The biggest thing that they're known for is not being the real underrated. You know, Lindsey's underrated. Co-op City's underrated. So people think when they're underrated, so I guess it's like the commercial of Michael Jordan, and the guy's like, I'm Michael Jordan. You get hype, and you see, this ain't Michael Jordan. So that's what people think about this underrated team. They don't worry about that. They play the game together. They didn't have Mike throwing today. I think that hurt them. They wasn't able to put up points. They only scored 8 points. So I think once Mike gets back, this team will be okay. They need their leader. They need their general to lead the troops down the line. And then the game basically was defensively back and forth. Valley Boys was able to win in overtime, To who? Let me see. Wesley? Yeah, obviously catches the ball in overtime for the win. We can't really say we've seen much from both teams in the first game of the season.
Well, we did see MJ on that nice screen play.
Yes, if you look at this screen pass right here, that's MJ. MJ made the All-Star team last year. MJ is the playmaker, underrated. Gotta get the ball to him. I think you are okay if you get the ball to MJ and Robert. Those are your playmakers. Get the ball to them. Let them run around and make plays for you. I think if underrated go that route, they'll be okay because Mike has a problem sometimes turning the ball over. So if he just he's a pocket passer. He's not really a guy that's gonna roll out, scramble. If he just dink and duck, hit these guys, they'll be good. They had this guy Chino throwing. You know, he's not Mike, but I think Mike will be back this week and they should be okay. Valley Boys, you need better players. You need better playmakers. I don't know if you have them players on this team, but they definitely didn't show. And if everything you do is Wesley, it's not going to work this year. It's not. These teams are going to set up. They're going to shut him down. They're going to double him. They're going to blitz the quarterback, and you're going to make mistakes. So the game went out to the end 14-8, Valley Boys. The last game we have, we're going to talk about is, make sure you look at this on the screen, the champion, UFL champion, NV. They dropped the R because replacements came in on their own, but the defending champions, now it's their turn to shine. They got a portrait of the team. Hopefully we can get a picture of that or something like that. I'll have them send a picture. We can show y'all. Every year the team gets a portrait of themselves with their top 4 players on it, and then they each get picture cards for every player. I'm gonna get a copy of that and send it and let y'all see. Hopefully, by the time the show is up, you'll be seeing that. So that was their ring ceremony. They were hyped to defend. They're actually the UFL's first returning defending champions, which we thank them for that. And they were ready to go. They lost Yomi for the season with a torn ACL. And then the question about the team is, Yomi won him a championship. Is Fred really the starter? Is Fred really the man? Fred guided the ship, but Yomi got them to the destination. So the question is, who's this team's quarterback?
I mean, Fred this season is looking to prove that he was the quarterback. He was the one who got them where they were, and he was the one that could have led them to the championship had they kept him in. So he has a lot to prove this season.
They have a lot of internal problems that were going on. Guys complaining about playing time. You know, that was one of D-Boy's problems. That's the situation with this team. And they got to get together as a team in order to win. They got a lot of tough teams in the West with them. They got replacements. They have Carver. They have Black Stallions, who's on the rise. They have a lot of other teams that's in their division that they have to get it together now and play ball, because everybody's after what the champs got. And then we have Black Stallions, who were the 3rd seed last year. There wasn't a great 3 seed. They lost in the wild card game. They have a new coach, Coach Al. He's more structured. He's giving his team more balance. They're trying to move the ball. They got a more mobile quarterback. Unfortunately, we didn't get his name, but he's number 7. He's mobile. He can throw the ball. Last year, Black Stallions have a problem throwing the ball, and I think they stepped it up this year with a new quarterback. So we're going to get to the game. It was pretty much a laugher, I would say. Fred was able to throw 3 touchdowns. If you look, this is his one of his touchdowns to Matrix. And MV actually came out with a vengeance. They wanted to show what they could do. Towards the end of the game, they just started playing around, having a good time. They wasn't really into the game. They was able to get 2 touchdowns. Mimi got a touchdown. Mimi got an interception. I got an interception. So they were able to shut Black Stallions down early. Black Stallions were able to score a touchdown to get back in the game in the beginning.
Well, the person who scored the touchdown was Julito on their side. He had 5 receptions that game too, so he was getting open. He was helping them move the ball, but they unfortunately were only able to score once. We also have Victor here with an interception. So obviously Fred threw one.
Well, if you see the ball right here, Fred just seemed like he was throwing it up. I don't think Fred really came out with the energy because he figured out was playing the Black Stallions. So I don't think he was really in tune in the game. He did throw that bad interception. That was a necessary interception. But he had 3 two-point conversions and 3 touchdowns. So he shut the game down early. So and then the guys able to unwind. But I think MV, I gotta get used to just saying MV, has to get used to just going and attacking teams, shutting the game down early. Because like I said, they don't have Yomi. They can't afford to play around with these teams. Everybody's hunting on them. So the question is, do you think MV is in the driver's seat to try to defend the title?
Well, they've been asking me this since the beginning of the season. Am I going to pick them as returning champions, as defending champions or whatever? I always reserve my choice until week 2. That's what we always do. We did that last season.
Right.
So as of right now, I can't say that I can pick anybody yet. We're waiting for week 2. But I feel that NV needs to clear up the inward problems within their team. They need to get on the same page. They'll need to because they have a lot of rivals in their division. Their biggest is Carver Mall.
Right.
So they need to clear that up. All the issues that they have, they need to fix that now because they have a long season ahead of them.
Well, I'm going to give you my player of the game. My player of the game. Of the day, I'm sorry. My offensive player of the day was actually, I would say it was Joe on Carver. He had 10 catches. He had a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Joe showed what he could do. He's definitely here to make plays. My defensive player of the game is from the same team. It was Danny. Danny had a great interception and he had a sack. Carver is actually here to make plays, and they definitely show that they're able to make plays. I don't usually pick 2 players from the same team, but I think them 2 players actually stepped up and showed what this team is all about. So those are my 2 players of the game. Carver, actually, 2 players from Carver.
Well, my offensive player today would have to be, and this is surprising, it would have to be Puka. I would say that because he's the only player that can actually score points on the run. The only player in this league that can score points on the run. Running the ball. Not even going for receptions or anything like that. He can also do a kick return or two. But I feel that he does it on his feet
and
more than he does with his hands.
He ran the ball.
That was my offensive player today.
Right.
My defensive player today would have to go to Smoke from House Gang.
Yeah.
Because he had 4 sacks as the ball giver, and I feel that was crucial to House Gang winning that game. That's what kept the Generals from getting their offense rolling and whatever. Those sacks were big for them, and I feel like that's why he deserves the defensive player of the day for me.
And good picks. Now, obviously, y'all already know. I know y'all been waiting for it. My come on man, and we had one today. We had one today. Pause it. I gotta say. Well, you already know. Well, no, you don't have to pause it. You can leave it. What was the thing with the guy who gave them the ball? What team was that? KDW.
KDW, yeah.
All right. Ready? Okay. Casper from KDW. If you look at this first play, he gave the ball giver the ball. You know, they was giving him on and let him know, listen, if you give the ball giver the ball, it's an interception. Hike it to yourself. Cool. The very next play, he don't go downfield. He don't throw a screen. He gives the ball giver the ball again. Interception. Come on, man. Come on, man. How you was just told. Do not give the defensive player the ball, hike it to yourself, and you give it right back to him. I guess Christmas is coming. He probably felt charitable. Maybe he thought, you know what, it was a zip game. You know, I want to give them the ball. You know, we're playing ball so hard. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Remember, ball so hard, KDW ended up giving them another one by throwing the ball and letting Julius run it back for a touchdown. So I think KDW was more into the giving move. Come on, man. Christmas ain't here yet. How you give the ball to the defender after you was just told not to?
I mean, this is their first.
Come on, man.
I got
Come on, man.
The guy. Come on. This is his first time in the league, and it's a habit. You form a habit when you play with other leagues.
Wait. Come on, man.
Let me just end it there. Listen, you already get my point, so.
One more time? Come on, man. We're going to end the show like that. Great opening week. Got a lot of big games next week coming up. I'm excited. Thank y'all for watching. This is very important. Watch the show. You can go to the guest book on the website. Hit the guest book up. Leave your questions there. We will talk about them on the show. We will answer your questions on the show if you leave them on the guest book. Any question we just ask, no cursing, it will be deleted, not all that stuff. But if you leave questions on the guest book, we will answer it on the show. If you leave the question with your name, we will give your name and say the question on the show. Great show. Exciting season coming up. What do you think?
There's no words to describe the feeling I have for this season right now. It's like the only thing I can say is much better and more to come.
I just thank y'all guys for being a part of this Christian League. Like I said, the goal is to change it from a Christian league to just a UFL league. And in the words of Diedrich Haddon, when his life is over, I want him to say, well done. Thank you, y'all. See y'all next week.
Close. Music. In the UFL, in the DFL, you gotta be about that life. You about that life? You a goon or you faking real tough talk? Only goons get it shaking real tough talk. I hope your bite is like your bark with that tough talk. This is what New York been missing, real tough talk. Man up or be man down, Rose G's. We bear arms in the wintertime, no sleep. Sour cause we raise them up, no seeds. One of them things that sit you higher than the nosebleeds. This that real tough talk, we about this life. Them real midnight marauders, yeah, shouts to fight. Get your trap shut, muffled.